Hello everybody, this is Alan with HeadphoneReviewHQ.com, and today I'm bringing you a review of the Bose QuietComfort 15 active noise cancelling headphones. So the first thing I want to talk about is the connector that actually goes into the headphones. As you can see, this thing is a 100% proprietary connector on the QuietComfort 15s. This high-low switch here, I don't know why they wouldn't have built this into the headphone other than to force you to buy a new cable from Bose if something goes wrong. But that is basically to reduce the loudness of volume. Apparently on aircraft, a lot of times they pump through a lot of juice. So this allows you to turn it down a little bit. This has nothing to do with the noise cancellation. So that plugs directly into the bottom of the headphones. And you can see there, it just clicks into place. If you ever need to pull this thing out, do not pull on this cable. You'll notice there's a little notch here at the top. You're going to slide your thumbnail down in there and it pops out. These are active noise canceling headphones, which means that they do require a battery in order to work at all. You can use these just as noise canceling, basically ear cups. And that doesn't require you to put in a cable on the bottom at all. You just switch the power on and you'll see the green light up there is on. And with that in mind, you can stick these on and they're canceling noise. Now, with that in mind, in order for the noise canceling to work, that means you have to have a battery. So in the right ear, where the on-off switch is, up at the top here, you'll see that there's a little groove here similar to the one for the cable on the other. So there's the door where it opens, and you have the AAA battery that came with it. Now in the directions that come with the headphones, it does mention that the AAA battery typically lasts about 35 hours. I think I'm approaching that period of time, so I haven't hit it yet. This thing hasn't died on me, but I'm getting pretty close. And the way that the battery goes in, it's the positive side down. And then you just pop it down in there and then it clicks in place pretty well. As far as the build on these is concerned, it's everything goes together nicely and it all fits nicely. But these are made of plastic and they look nice in my opinion. They look very nice. They have decent little chrome accents on them in just the right places. And overall, everything fits together well, but it is a very plasticky, they feel cheap. They feel inexpensive, but you know, this is what it is. And part of that, it was to keep it lightweight and to keep, you know, the materials from being too heavy. I'm not a fan of the proprietary jack on the bottom, but what are you going to do? I mean, that's what they've got. So if you buy these for the noise canceling, you know, you're stuck with that. They do come with two different cables though, and I did appreciate this. One of them is for using with an iPod or an iPhone or an iPad. It has an inline mic and the volume controls similar on other iDevice type headphones. So if you want to pop that in, you can basically leave these things on, take a phone call, do whatever. So I do like that. It does come with two different cables. The other cable you just use if you're listening on, you know, an MP3 player, PC, something like that. So that is a little bit of flexibility. And it also does come with, and you'll see this in the unpackaging that I'll tack on to the beginning of this, does come with an Airline adapter. So all those things are nice. Again, very proprietary, can break, unfortunate, sort of flimsy build, plasticky, whatever. Now, let's talk about the comfort. This is one part of these headphones that I really do like. These things are extremely lightweight. It's due to the plastic build, but the padding on the top is extremely cushy. They're super comfortable. Also, the ear pads on the sides, on the padding on these is just extremely soft. And when you put these on, they fit my head great. I mean, you almost can't even feel that you have them on. I mean, these are tremendous for people that have neck problems. I've run across some people that literally just they struggle with finding headphones because they can never find anything that's light enough, comfortable enough. These are great. There's very just enough sideways pressure to where you get a nice snug fit. And again, I don't even notice the top band on these, so that's phenomenal. Overall, excellent comfort factor on these. Alright, seeing as how these are active noise canceling headphones, let's go ahead and talk about that first. One of the reasons why these are as expensive as they are is because these are known as one of the very best set of active noise canceling headphones on the market. And to be honest, it's true. From what I've tried so far, I've only tried a handful of active noise canceling headphones, and these do a tremendous job of them. Right now, I can hear my refrigerator in another room. When I'm at work, there's actually fan noise. If you work in a large building or anything, you'll typically notice that there's white noise all day. What's interesting about noise cancellation is if you've never used it before, when you don't expect for it to shut out all the noises around. It seems like mostly what it's designed to do is to block out those low engine type rumbling noises. So if you're on an airplane where there's always that constant, or if you're on a train or a bus, or if you work around, loud, sort of heavy but low equipment, and when I say low, I mean that it's bassy type noise, then that's what this stuff blocks out. It's actually kind of odd when you put these headphones on and you turn the noise cancellation on, you'll actually feel what's almost like pressure in your ears. But really what it is that same feeling you get like if you're going up in an airplane or if you go to a higher elevation while you're driving, you'll get that loss of bass sound, and it makes you feel like you have pressure built up in your ears. And that's something that takes a little bit of getting used to. When I put these on, like the first time I put them on, I kept trying to pop my ears. I'm listening and going, well, why is my hearing feeling weird? But if you just pull the ear pad off, then you'll actually notice that sensation goes away. But that is what it's doing, is it's blocking out of that low bass sounding. It literally, when I put these on, if the air conditioner is running in our room, or the heater, or even if I have my little fan on at my desk pointing at me, put these on, can't hear it at all. Now what you will hear, like if you start typing on your keyboard, you'll hear faint clicks, because that's treble and mid-range sounds, frequencies that are coming in, and these aren't designed to block those out. Like, I would not suggest, these are not the caliber of things like if you go shoot a gun and you put on hearing protection. No, these won't do that. You would get the full impact of that blast in your head if you did that. These won't actively cancel out all spectrums, it's just that low drone. So be aware of that. That's what this is for, and it does a phenomenal job at it. I could absolutely see getting on an airplane with these, and this would block out pretty much all the ambient noise around you. Now, if there are people talking around you, you would hear a little bit of it. Phenomenal job on the noise cancellation. It really is an excellent job by Bose here. As far as sound leakage, so that people around you aren't bothered by it, here I'm going to play a little clip, and I'm going to turn it up pretty loud. I'd say louder than what you would typically listen to all the time, and you'll get to hear these. I believe do leak a little bit of sound, so here we go. And remember, you have to turn them on. So that's what the noise leakage would be if you're sitting 3 feet from me. And they do leak a little bit, so you wouldn't want to crank these up if you were sitting next to somebody on an airplane. But overall, they do a pretty decent job of keeping most of the sound in and a lot of the sound out. The bass on the Bose Quiet Comfort 15s. These actually do a very nice job on the bass. What I found interesting is I had to take these through a whole ton of different genres to nail down my thoughts on these. And I've listened to these, like I said, probably 30 plus hours now. And here's what I found. The bass is super tight. It is actually spot on. The notes are clear. Everything sounds great until you get into like heavy hitting type bass drums. instead of getting a nice full punchy sound, you'll get like a blah. It's almost a flat or a splat sounding. And that is really on hard kick drums and things of that nature. Now, it does roll off a little bit on super low frequencies. Overall, again, the notes are tight. It does just lose volume. And the one thing I did like about it, one song that I try out on every single headphones I review is Chris Jones, Angel from Montgomery, because there's a bass note that he hits frequently in that song that has just a ton of texture to it. You'll actually hear it, instead of just boom on the thing, you'll actually hear the pitch slightly go up and then back down, and these reproduce that just beautifully. So when it's not just being tested to the max or stressed, these sound beautiful, and they are extremely tight, and they do a nice job on the bass. Just don't expect huge thump out of these. I don't know that I would consider these for like hip hop or R&B, even though they sound pretty decent on them. But if you're just into hard hitting bass, this isn't that. But if you like refined, good detailed bass, these do a good job on it. The mid-range on the Bose Quiet Comfort 15s is probably its Achilles heel, at least out of the box anyways. If you just plug these up to your iPod or your iPhone or whatever media player you have, the mid-range on these is just insanely recessed. To the point to where, and the mid-range that I'm talking about is actually the low to the mid-range, which are the deeper part of the person's vocals and getting up into the meat of the voice. And I found that female vocalists really suffered on these simply because their voices were so in your face, because it didn't have that lower end of the mid-range to mellow it out a little bit. So Adele's, Rebecca Ferguson's, people with just really strong female vocals, they were almost difficult to listen to on these at any kind of volume because they were just so thin. I did find that EQing the treble down or bringing the mid-range up actually helped these out quite a bit, and it made them way more pleasurable to listen to. But they still did lack a little bit of that involvement to get you feeling like you were in the room with the person, but it did sound nice. So overall, just out of the box, they're very thin. Now, another note on that, and this was after a lot of just hours and hours listening, I did notice that when you have the volume down on extremely low levels, pretty much you were just getting very little mids, a lot of highs, and a decent amount of lows. As you turned it up, when you get to about 50%, things seem to kind of balance themselves out a little bit. And then as you go up louder, then the mid-range starts actually taking over and becomes too harsh at that point. So there's like a fine line. You really have to be willing to EQ these headphones to get the absolute best sound, especially out of the mid-range, because at the low, there's none. You turn it up moderate, they kind of fill in pretty well, and if you go up too loud, then they just take over everything, and it's almost ear-piercing. So that is probably one of the biggest weak points of these headphones. Once you get the balance right, they sound nice, but it does take a little bit of work. The treble on the Quiet Comfort 15s. I felt that this was actually a nice set of headphones to listen to with the treble. The only problem is if you turn it up too loud, then you kind of need to EQ it down, because it does seem to take over a little bit along with those mid-range frequencies I was talking about. But overall, it is a detailed and a fairly textured sounding treble on these. The only thing that I felt was missing is that bit of airiness or presence that you get from an extremely detailed set of headphones. But minus that, if you've never even heard that before, you wouldn't notice it was missing. Again, on these, they do sound very pleasant. I mean, you put in some classical music where you want to hear the texture on the strings and that type of thing, and these do a nice job. All the details not there, but you have enough to where you actually feel involved in the music, and so I feel that they did a great job on that. Powering the Quiet Comfort 15s, and by powering I mean the amount of power that you need from a media player in order to get the best sound out of these. Now, looking through the manual on it, again, on that cable that I showed you earlier, there's a high and a low setting. Apparently that's basically used for when you get on an airplane. Airplanes apparently jack out quite a bit of power to your headphones, so you might want to tone it down. Now, I found that using this with my media players, my MacBook Pro, my iPhone, my Android device, I have this on the high setting, and you can actually go pretty loud with that through just my iPhone 3GS. So in that regard, these do a pretty decent job. They could benefit a little bit from EQing or from amping, but you don't really need it. I found that I used my FiiO E17 amplifier with these basically just so I could use the EQ on it so I could tweak the treble and the bass up and down. My closing thoughts on the Quiet Comfort 15s. Overall, I did enjoy these headphones. I think they are a little bit overpriced, but that really depends on what you're getting them for. If you plan on being, or if you do travel quite a bit, these might be right up your alley. If you get on noisy airplanes, or if you're on buses or trains or anything where there's just a ton of noise and you just want something to block the world out, these might be the ticket for you. They do a great job with the noise cancellation. And as far as the sound's concerned, they do sound good, but I found myself tweaking the EQ on whatever I was listening with on these things more than I do with most any other set of headphones. And that's because they act differently at different volumes. So the mid-range is non-existent on low volumes, and then it's just overpowering at moderate to high. So I found myself just constantly in there tweaking the treble and the mids and the bass or whatever to get the perfect balance of sound. You know, maybe you wouldn't have that problem. If you listen at 50% all the time, then hey, you'll be good. Or if you listen low, you can just set your settings on your player to where you don't have to worry about those type of things. The sound is nice. I wouldn't call it audiophile grade quality sound. I mean, there are headphones at half the price that sound better than these, but they don't have the noise cancellation. So really you're looking at features. The other thing I will point out is I did look at a lot of reviews on Amazon, and you'll see that the reviews are all over the board on these things. And really the 1 stars and the 2-star reviews have a lot to do with the build quality. People talk about the flimsy cable, which I have to agree, on a $300 set of headphones, I would expect something a little bit beefier instead of something that I'd find typically on a $20 set of headphones. And I mean, they're just little things like that are a little frustrating. Now I will say the comfort again is just out of this world. It's fantastic, and overall I enjoyed the headphones. Whether or not they're worth $300 to you, it really depends on your situation. So I recommend them on the basis that the sound can be very good, and I recommend them on the basis that they are comfortable and that the noise canceling is phenomenal. I will say I think they're pricey. And if you do get a set of these, I highly recommend putting these in the carrying case that comes with them. Do not throw these into a bag and carry around with you. They will break. I am positive of it. After you put these in your hand, you'll know what I'm talking about. So make sure, if you do plan on getting a set of these, you know, store them with what they sent you. It's not a very big container. I actually like the carrying pouch that came with it, and they sit in there properly. And I found that you don't even have to take the cable out. You can just wind it up next to it and tuck it in there. It fits fine. But you do not want to throw these in anything where they could possibly just get, you know, destroyed. They're $300. This is Alan with HeadphoneReviewHQ.com. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Bose Quiet Comfort 15 active noise canceling headphones. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the form below, whether you're on YouTube or my site, HeadphoneReviewHQ.com. And just know it might take me a little bit longer to get back to you guys nowadays because there are a ton more people watching these videos, so I get a ton more questions, comments, feedback, all that. But it takes me a day or two sometimes to get around to all of them. Also, check me out on Facebook now. I have actually gone in and started updating my Facebook page. So. And I won't spam you. I probably post a couple times every 2 or 3 days. So check me out on Facebook.com/HeadphoneReviewHQ. And yeah, HeadphoneReviewHQ. And I do have that tied into my Twitter feed as well, which is @HeadphoneHQ. So if Twitter's your thing, you know, subscribe over there or follow me over there, and you'll actually get my feeds from Facebook, and then you can come join in the conversation up there if you want. Or you can just hit me up on Twitter, because I should get a notification there. If you do plan on buying the Quiet Comfort 15s, please use my affiliate link below. It helps me bring you more reviews of these things, because I know it's really difficult, especially nowadays with all the all the electronic stores seem to be gone except Best Buy, and they only stock a few different types of headphones. So if you'd like to see more reviews, please do. If you plan on purchasing, use my link below. And you know, as always, I appreciate you hanging around for this review. I've got many more coming here in the near future, so hang with me. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.